Hi everybody, this is Scott Sharp with Fretboard Toolbox, and today we're going to do a worksheet to help you see how to build major scales. I did a clinic at Mass Street Music recently on music theory, and folks said that this worksheet helped them a ton with understanding not only music theory, but how toolboxes help you see music theory. So let's take a look and I'll show you how it works. Alright, so to download this worksheet, if you click the link that's over here, you'll go to the page that has the worksheet for you, and you can also find it here on Free Tools, Building Major Keys Worksheet, and then we've got a bunch of descriptions of what these words mean, and like a good modern teacher, I've got answer keys down on the bottom. So let's get started and I'll show you how you can start building major keys. Okay, so what we're looking at here is what's called a chromatic scale, which is all the notes. So there's 12 notes if you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and then you go back to the note you started on. And some of these notes have two different names. And if you've ever played piano, these notes here are the black keys, and then the notes without two different names are the white keys. So what we want to do is we need to know how far apart are these notes within a scale, and that's what this shows us down here. So let's see if we can zoom in a touch. Okay, so going from skipping a note like this is called a whole step, and then doing the note right next door is called a half step. So all major scales are always started by building a whole step. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with the key of G, and then so it's going to be the G major scale, and here's G major. And so our first note, our do note or our home note, is a G here. And then to go to the next note, it's called a whole step. So we need to skip a note to get to the 2. So if you know do, re, mi, this is do, this is re. So the next note is A. So we're starting with the G, and then we go to A. That's a whole step. So do, re. Our next one is a whole step also. So we're going to go from here to here. Now that's B. So do, re, mi. This is the 1 note, the 2 note, the 3 note. So the 3 is B. Then we're going to do a half step, which means do the note right next door. So it's the fret next door or the piano key right next door to the note you were on. So now we're on C, and then our next one is a whole step to D. So do, re, mi, fa, so. And then we need another whole step. It's our 6th note, which is E. And then we need a whole step, which gets us to, here we got to decide F sharp or G flat, and each note, each letter can only be used once. So you can only have one G, one A, one B, one C. So we can't make this G flat because our next note's going to be a G. So we're going to have to say this is F sharp, which goes right here. And then to get back home, we do a half step. So that's G. So this is how all major scales are built for all instruments. It's called whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, and then a half step at the end. And so if you know that, there's a lot that you can do with it. And also should show you that on fretboard toolboxes, let's look at the key of G here. So this one we're looking at a fretboard toolbox complete edition and then an essential edition. And let's start by looking at the complete edition. So we scroll here, and then this is the interactive version, so you can just click on whatever key you want. Notice the essential edition has 5 main keys that folks play in, 5 major keys, and then the essential edition has all the keys that folks play in. Well, that's not true, but most of the keys that folks play in. So G major, and then G major on here. So we have almost the same thing. I'll kind of show you the difference in a minute here. But take a look at this. We've got G is here, and then we go to A, and then we go to B, and then we go to C, and then D, and then E, and then F sharp. And then with the toolboxes, then you can see where are those notes, those same G, A, B, C notes all over the fretboard here. Okay, so that's the first step. That's the first cool thing to see. The second cool thing is what chords make up the key. So now we're going to say in the key of, we're still in the key of G major. And then what's called the 1 chord, you've got a Roman numeral 1 here. The 1 chord is G major. So that the G goes right here. So notice the 1 note was a G and the 1 chord is a G. And then the 2 note was an A, and the 2 chord is an A minor. So here's my 2 chord, A minor, 2 chords, A minor, 3 is a B minor, and my 3rd note was a B. So my 3rd note's a B, so this becomes a B minor. And then my 4th chord is a C, and my 4th note's a C. And then the 5th chord is a D, and the 6th chord is an E minor. And then the 7th chord would be based off of this note, but it's a diminished chord and it's a weird one and folks don't play it a ton, so we can save that for a later video. Okay, so then so you can see which notes make up the key, which is cool. Then you can see which chords make up the key, and notice that they're all based on the notes. And then also you see the minor chords have lowercase Roman numerals and the major chords have capitals. That's just by convention, but it's kind of helpful. And then you can take it to the next level, which is which notes make up each of these chords. And it's a pretty cool pattern to see how that works. So a G major chord, every chord works like this. So the 1 chord is a G major. It's going to be made by using notes from the major scale, and we're going to skip every other note. So G, B, D is a G major chord. G, B, D. So that's the 1st, 3rd, and 5th note out of the major scale. So that's where this 1, 3, 5 is. And all major chords are built from the 1, 3, 5 notes of that chord scale. That's probably confusing, but just bear with me and see if we can make some sense here. So my 2 chord, I'm going to start on the A note, and it's going to be A, C, E. So I'm skipping every other note that's in the key. So A minors are always made of the notes A, C, E. So on a fretboard toolbox, you can see G major is made of the notes G, B, D. It's in the 1, 3, and 5 columns. And then on the complete edition, you don't have the colored circles, but if you know major chords are built out of the 1, 3, and 5 columns, G major is made of the notes G, B, and D. Then A minor is made of the notes A, C, and E. So on here it's A, C, E. And with the Essential Edition, you get, like I want to see where are these G, B, and D notes all over the fretboard. Here's where they are. This is all the different ways that you can play G major by covering those notes. And then with the interactive version, I can click on A minor, and my A minor is made of the notes A, C, E. And so here's a layout showing all the A, C, and E notes all up and down the fretboard. So we built the first 2 chords, and then the other chords are going to go faster. So B is a minor chord in the key of G, and so it's going to be made of the notes B, D, and then F sharp. So we got B, D, F sharp. And then we're going to have C major, which is going to be made of the notes C, E, and G. So again, we're just skipping every other one. C, E, G. And on a toolbox, I can see C majors are made of C, E, G, or with the complete edition, C, E, G. And then D majors are going to be D, F sharp, and then back to A, because here's my G, and so I had to skip one from F sharp. And so here's my A. So D majors are always D, F sharp, and A on every instrument. That's what makes it extra cool. And then E minors are going to be made of E, G, and then back to B. So E, G, B is E minor. Then if I want to see what's a major pentatonic scale, I can see the G major pentatonic is going to use the notes in the 1, 2, 3, 5, and 6 notes. So if I go back here, my 1, 2, 3, skip the 4, 5, 6, skip the 7. That's just what a major pentatonic scale is. It's just like the major scale, except you skip the 4th note, and then you skip the 7th note. So skip the 7 and then back to G. And then if I want to check my work like a good student would, if I didn't mention that, I'm a high school biology teacher, so a good student ought to check their work. So you can go through and see what's the G major key here, what's the A major, and it works like this for every key. So I could do one of these worksheets for any key and build it pretty fast once I know my steps. So let's just start the A major scale real quick, just so you can see. So A is now going to be my root, and then I'm going to go a whole step to B. So it's going to be A, B. My next note has got to be a whole step away. So I got to decide C sharp or D flat. Well, I need to have the notes in alphabetical order, and they can only appear once. So I'm going to pick C sharp, and then I'm going to need to go a half step to D, and then a whole step to E, and then another whole step, and I need to stick in alphabetical order, so I'm going to choose F sharp. There's my F sharp, and then I need to go from F sharp to the next note, which is going to be a whole step. So I need the note right next to G, which is going to be a G sharp. So the note right next to G is going to be a G sharp, and I'm not going to pick A flat because I'm keeping it in alphabetical order. G sharp, and then here's A. So when you hear something like A major's the key that has 3 sharps, that's because of this and this and this. And then the key of G is the key that has 1 sharp, and that's because the only sharp in the key of G is this F sharp here. So anyways, I hope that helps you see something a little bit different and see how to build chords a bit. And once you kind of see how it works with the toolboxes and you can see which notes make up the key and then where they're found, the most important thing is not knowing every single note and what it's called and where it's located, but it's learning these shapes. And for me, the shapes became a lot more meaningful when I learned about keys and I learned which chords fit in the key, and I started learning about Roman numerals like a 1, 4, 5 progression. And once I started seeing how to build these chords and that they were all built to the same notes, then I started being able to goof around on a lot of different instruments, which is why I've made toolboxes now for, let's see, something like 8 or more instruments. There's piano down here that you can't see. So, but it's all the same thing on every single toolbox. So it's, if I want to see all of those, if I want to see all the keys, I'd look at a complete edition. And if I want to see just the most common keys and see those colored circles, I'd look at an essential edition. And if you want to order a toolbox, just go to the toolbox website, pick your instrument, and then go to guitar, and you can download free pages here and all kinds of more tools and lots of YouTube videos. So anyways, hope you found something useful, and I'll have lots more videos coming on lots more instruments. Thanks for taking a look.